Lesson 1-3, add and subtract real numbers. So in this lesson, we're going to model how to add signed numbers on a number line. We're also going to apply the rules for adding and subtracting signed numbers. So it says an oil well has been dug to a depth of 1.7 miles. Additional drilling makes the well 1.2 miles deeper. What signed number expresses the final depth of the well? When they talk about signed numbers, they're talking about, is it a positive or negative number here? So it says an oil well has been dug to a depth of 1.7 miles. So if it's a depth, that means it's going down. So that's a negative 1.7. And additional drilling makes the well, so this one should say the well 1.2 miles deeper. So that means we're adding another negative 1.2 deeper. So if we think about this on a number line, if this is 0 here, and we'll say, so this would be negative 1, negative 2, and this is negative 3. So we'll say it goes to negative 1.7. So that's roughly here. So it goes to here. And then they go another 1.2 away from that. So that's going to go roughly here. So it's going to be a little bit before the negative 3. But now if I wasn't doing on a number line, I would just add these two numbers together. Negative 1.7 plus a negative 1.2 is a negative 2.9. So when we add with like and unlike signs, there are some things some rules we have to pay attention to. To add with like signs, you're just going to add the numbers and keep the same sign as the two numbers. So if the two numbers are negative, you're just going to add the numbers and use the negative sign. If the two numbers are positive, you're just adding the numbers and your answer is positive. So I have negative 1.7 and negative 1.2. We just did that. We said that was a negative 2.9. So a lot of this, just don't make it too complicated with that. Here, to add with unlike signs, you're going to have to subtract the lesser absolute value from the greater absolute value. The answer will have the same sign as the greater absolute value. Now that might sound a little bit confusing. So how I think of it is, if the signs are different and I'm supposed to be adding them, I'm actually going to subtract the two numbers first. So the first thing I have here is I have fractions involved. So I need to get rid of, I have to get the common denominator. So the common denominator of 8 and 3 would be 24. So I would have 1, and then 8 times 3 would give us 24. So that means I have to multiply the top by 3, and that gives us 21. And the other number is 3. 24 times 3 is 8 times 3 is 24. So that means 2 times 8 would give us 16. So if I just take my two numbers and I subtract them, so I'm going to subtract 1, and then this would be 21. Let's see. Yeah, 21 over 24. We could still do it that way. We would have to borrow in order to do that. So let's borrow here. So I would have to take 1 away from here. So I have a 2, but I got 24 24ths for that. So if I add 24 to here, this is now going to be 40 over 24. Now I can do 24 or 40 minus 21, which that's going to give us 19. out of 24. And then I have 2 minus 1, which is 1. So this would actually give us 1 and 19 out of 24. But because the signs are different, I compare the two numbers. And so this is what I do. I look at 3 and 2/3 and 1 and 7/8. Well, I know 3 and 2/3 is bigger. So that one, I'm going to use the sign for that one. Since the sign was negative, my answer is going to be negative. Now, another way of doing this is you could convert these to improper fractions. That might be a little bit easier. So if I did 8 times 1 is 8 plus 7 is 15. And then multiply that by 3/3. And that would give us 45/24. And then the other one would be negative 9 plus 2, which would give us negative 11/3. And then multiply that by 8/8. And we would have negative 88/24. Now I just take, I'm going to put this up here. So I would have 88/24 minus 45/24. And 88 minus 45 would give us 43/24. Now if you look at here, if I did 24 times 1, that's 24. 24 plus 19 would give us 43. So that's our, and this would be negative because 88 is bigger than 45. So negative 43/24 is the same as negative 1 over 19/24. Simple problems A. Here we're going to add like and unlike signs. So now here the signs are different. So if the signs are different, I'm going to subtract the two numbers. So I have 12.63 minus 8.4. So subtracting those, I get 3, 2, 12 minus 8 is 4. So I would have 4.23. Now 12.63 is bigger, so I go with that sign. So since the sign was negative, my answer is going to be negative. Next, I have negative 4.93 plus 1/4. Since I have a decimal and a fraction, I want to put them all either as fractions or as decimals. For this one, I'm going to put that as a decimal. This as a decimal is 0.25. Since the signs are different, I'm going to just subtract them. So 4.93 minus 0.25. Borrow. 13 minus 5 is 8. 8 minus 2 is 6. 4 minus 0 is 4. So we would have 4.68. And since 4.93 is bigger than 0.25, I use the sign on the negative on the 4.93, which was negative. So our answer is negative 4.68. This next one, the signs are the same. So all I have to do is just add them, but I need to have common denominators. So the common denominator would be 9. So this would be negative 2 and 1/9 plus a negative 7 multiplied by 3. So that would be 3/9. So negative 2 plus a negative 7 is negative 9. 1 plus 3 is 4/9. So our answer would be negative 9 and 4/9. Next, we're going to subtract with like and unlike signs. So to subtract with like signs, add the opposite and follow the same method as adding with unlike signs. So for this example, if I'm subtracting a negative, I'm going to add the opposites. So the signs are different. So I'm going to have 20.2 minus 7.33. And there's going to be a 0 there, so we need to borrow. 10 minus 3 is 7. Borrow here, so this would be a 19. 11 minus 3 is 8. and 19 minus 7 is 12. So I would have 12.87. And since 20.2 is bigger than 7.33, I go with that sign, which would make it negative. Now, if you wanted to use your calculator to verify it, you could easily do that. You can actually put the original problem in there as negative 20.2 minus a negative 7.33, and that's going to give us a negative 12.87, which is what we had. Next, to subtract with unlike signs, you add the opposite and follow the same method as adding with like signs. So if I'm subtracting a negative, I'm really adding the opposite. So that makes everything positive, and I need common denominators. Common denominators of 6 and 3 is 6. So I'm going to have 2 and 5, 6 plus 4 and 2, 6. And this is going to equal 6 and 7, 6. But 7, 6 is an improper fraction. So this can be rewritten as 6 plus 1 and 1/6. And that will give us an answer of 7 and 1/6. Moving on to sample problems B, we're going to subtract like and unlike signs. So here we're going to add the opposite. And so I'm going to have 10.40 minus 6.43. Need to borrow. 10 minus 3 is 7. Borrow here. 13 minus 4 is 9. And 9 minus 6 is 3, so I would have 3.97. Since 10 is bigger than 6, I'm going to go with that sign, which that sign was positive, so our answer is a positive 3.97. Next, we have three numbers here. So I would just go from here, we're going to be adding the opposite. So I would do negative 8.4 plus a negative 4, which is a negative 12.4. And we have 7.54. And then this is going to be adding the opposites, so we're going to be plus the opposites. Since the signs are different, I'm going to take 12.40 and I'm going to subtract 7.54 and do the subtraction here. Borrow 10 minus 4 is 6. Borrow from here. So this is 11. 13 minus 5 is 8. 11 minus 7 is 4. So we have 4.86. And for this one, because 12.4 was bigger than 7.54, we go with the sign with the 12.4, which is negative. So the answer would be a negative 4.86. And our last one, add the opposites. So we're just combining these. So 5.5 plus half would give us 6. And our last examples, same thing, just adding the opposites. So if I'm subtracting a negative, I'm really adding. Common denominators, this would be a negative 2 and 6/10 plus 1 and 1/10. Signs are different, so we're going to subtract them. So 2 minus 1 is 1. 6 minus 1 is 5. So 1 and 5/10. So if I compare, like since 2 is bigger than 1, this would be a negative. And I have 2/5 minus 2/5. That means I'm going to be adding a negative 2/5. But I need common denominators. So common denominator will be 10. So multiply the top and bottom by 2. That's going to be plus a negative 4/10. And so our answer would be a negative 1 and 9/10. Now, if you wanted to put them all as improper fractions, that's fine. But it should be in fractions because they have fractions in the problem. Next is all with decimals. So if I add the opposites here, I would have a positive 1.1 and a positive 6.41. So I have negative 6.2 plus 7.51. Signs are different, so I subtract. So 7.51 minus 6.20. I'm left with 3.1, so 1.31. 7 is bigger than 6. 7 is positive, so our answer is positive. So that's our lesson on adding and subtracting real numbers.